I'm Nora Barrows-Friedman here with my colleague Asa Winstanley. Last Saturday, huge numbers of people rallied in towns and cities across Ireland for the National March for Palestine. May 17th was chosen by the Ireland-Palestine Solidarity Campaign because it coincided with Israel's National Day of Remembrance for the Great Famine. Sorry, Ireland's National Day of Remembrance for the Great Famine. Here's a clip of the march on Dublin's O'Connell Street, filmed by the Electronic Intifada's own Ali Abunimah.
3, 4, occupation no more. 5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is a terrorist state. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine.
Ali joins us now from Dublin, along with a very special guest, Abubaker Abed, who arrived in Ireland just over a month ago after being evacuated from Gaza. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So good to see you guys together. It's a dream.
He's real.
Yeah, it's amazing. I hear he's also tall.
He is quite tall, but he's Abubakar. And I just keep looking at, for the past 5-6 days I've been here, and sadly this is my last night here in Ireland. I just keep looking at him and saying I can't believe it's you and that you're really there in front of me, because the odds are against anyone surviving this genocide, and it's just a dream come true. And what we've been saying to each other, and also talking with friends in Gaza and with Abubaker's family, saying that if this dream came true, others can as well. And we hope everyone will be saved from this genocide.
Abubaker, what's it? We'll get into your journey in a little bit, but
people don't know him. I was going to introduce him to you, but unfortunately. So
beautiful.
For people who don't know, the guest next to me, he's Dr. Ali Abunimah. He's a writer and a journalist. If you don't know him, we will send some links to his recent works, but until now, he's next to me. So yeah, you probably would know him more in the next days.
Amazing. Ali, it's going to be so good to get to know you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also nice being in Ireland with like someone who gets recognized in the streets.
No, he got more recognized than me.
Well, we're definitely among friends here. I can tell you that.
You're in a civilized country, unlike
the only one in Europe, the only civilized country in Europe.
Yeah.
Well, tell us, you, Abubakar, you were one of the speakers from the stage of the rally a few days ago, and we're going to look at that clip in a moment. But describe what it was like to be at the march, amongst so many people calling for the protection and the safety of you and your family and the 2 million people in Gaza, calling for an end to this slaughter and an end to Zionism as the state ideology that's helping carry it out.
Well, I have to be honest, because I never thought in my life that I would be seeing such a rally. It was absolutely overwhelming, and I felt like home, to be honest, because for the past 30 days before the rally, and I'm still, to be honest, but maybe a lower degree right now, I really didn't expect that people, like so many people attended this rally and were in the rally, thousands, tens of thousands of people. So for me, I can imagine that there is a high sense of understanding and awareness of the Palestinian cause. People know that, people are aware of that. But what really intrigued me was the fact that they knew and they pushed their governments, they're trying to tackle their governments and telling them and asking them to do more. So this kind of support amidst all what is happening, and after following the very impossible decision that I had to make, it really felt surreal. And I really, even after the rally, a lot of people came in and supported me and uplifted my spirits. all of what happened was absolutely unreal, and really, really got overwhelmed and very, very happy to be with them, and felt like home. And this is like my second family. So it's a truth when people really once mentioned, or they're still mentioning that Ireland is Palestine of Europe. And you can't see, like here, there is no way that you can see probably a sign of anti-Palestine or something. The vast majority of the population, even members of the government, and as I was invited over to the Irish Parliament, the vast majority are pro-Palestinian, and they know the cause, and they're trying to pressure the governments to do more. So all that means to me a lot. And for Palestine, and to Palestinians also trapped in the Turkey, even my family, when they saw that, they really got so emotional, and so did everyone in Gaza. So it was one of the most beautiful moments to be in a protest, because I've been seeing them, I've been watching them since the start of the genocide, but I really wanted to know, and was desperate to be among them one day, and I was last Saturday, and it was absolutely just so delightful, amazing to be with the Irish people. They're so amazing.
And Ali, yeah, tell us about.
Yeah, I mean, I arrived early Saturday morning, and then met Abubakar, and we went to the rally. And I mean, it was just, the emotion was overwhelming. To be there by itself was incredible, and then to be there with Abubakar was just unbelievable. And to be marching, and people were there from all over Ireland. We met people from every part of this country, from Cork, Limerick, Belfast, every part of the country, and every age. Just seeing the diversity of people there, it was just astonishing. I needed it. My soul needed it. I wish everyone could feel the love and support and solidarity that we experienced in Dublin on Saturday. But it's also important to point out this wasn't just in Dublin. It was that the national march was all over the country. There were rallies everywhere in Ireland, and they're still going on. If you look at the Ireland Palestine Solidarity Campaign website, you'll see lists in recent days and in coming days of rallies, protests in dozens of towns all over this country. And even when we were driving past the American embassy, I think Abubakar posted this, or you posted this
there was a sign
on Twitter. We saw someone holding a sign outside the American embassy: "Stop starving Gaza." Everywhere you go, you see Palestinian flags in people's windows, and you're not scared to tell people you're Palestinian, and that's a feeling I'm not used to.
And we also went to one of the shops and spoiled all the boycott products. Never worry, I'm gonna wave if they catch me.
Well, I want to also bring on John, because I know that he wants to say hi to you, Abubakar. And
Hi, John.
Yeah, like let me in.
Hi, John.
Hi, Ali. Beautiful moment.
Yeah,
Unbelievable, isn't it?
It really is. It is. I mean, one thing that and you wrote about this for Drop Site News right after you arrived in Ireland, but it was the first time you had ever left Gaza a month ago. The first time you had ever seen your country, historic Palestine, although you weren't even able to get out and explore, obviously. The first time you had ever been on a plane. And what hit me was the way that you described seeing Palestine for the first time outside of Gaza. Can you talk a little bit about that journey, what it was like, what kind of struck you the most?
I never believed that I would make it. I have to be honest. I was completely alarmed and frightened and intimidated, because I know that the Israelis have been for a long time, and still now, they've been chasing me, and they've already put a kill target on my back for a very long time. And that was the concern of every single one who knew me, and of my family, of my mom. So to be honest, all on the way through to outside Gaza, I was just thinking about one thing, that there's no way that I'm leaving this destroyed. I'm leaving this homeland destroyed and flattened and leveled to the ground. There's no way, but I had to. So I was crying from my inside. I've got to be honest. And then when I made the journey outside, I was thinking about my mom and about my family, because I know that my mom, when she told me, Abubakar, I don't I don't need you anymore in the house because you're a harm to me and my family. That was the most devastating thing I've ever heard in my life. I didn't think, well, here's something as more devastating as it is.
Because she wanted to convince you to leave.
Well, I
Yeah.
know, but emotionally, think about it. I'm just 22 years old. My mom really loved me the most, and she always thinks about me. But the way it is said, it's very unbearable. Then when I went outside and we reached, the corridors and the checkpoints, it was very frightening. And I wrote that there was an Israeli soldier who was watching over me, and I felt very, very frightened and intimidated. But after all of what happened, and after I was separated by the Israeli officers from my group, and I was like, my ID was double checked and my face and everything, I made it. I made it to the Irish Embassy bus. But then when you look at it, the hardest part of it all is to look at Palestine, is to see the wonderful, the stunning, the gorgeous stretches of land, the historic archaeological places, the big, huge mountains, the trees, the palm trees, the dates, the red and the yellow dates, and like the green fields, everything, the Dead Sea, the buildings dotting the beach of the Dead Sea, and how people are relaxing and chilling on the beach. But seeing that, and you can't really do anything, you're just taking occupied Palestine as just a layover. It's unbearable. It's just like you can't really set foot outside the pass on your homeland. That is your homeland. And then the language is Hebrew, and Israeli flags are everywhere across those areas near the southern areas of Palestine, like Beersheba and other parts like Jaffa, near Jericho, and near the Dead Sea. That was lethal, literally lethal. I couldn't really bear it. And I was like, my blood was boiling every single moment when I was seeing something like that. So occupied Palestine, and I knew from that moment, because I never imagined they would be seeing occupied Palestine the first thing outside Gaza. I knew from that moment that fighting for a free Palestine is worth it, and fighting for a free Palestine will take many years. Here in Ireland, it took them more than 700 years to tackle and end British occupation. I know it's been 77 years, which is very long as well, but I believe that for me personally, that I knew from that moment that fighting for Palestine is worth it all. And Palestine needs me. Palestine needs us to continue speaking up, to continue doing our work. And this is a form of resistance. Everyone in Gaza has their own form of resistance. The people, the journalists, the doctors, the nurses, the teachers, everyone, every single category of those people. So for me personally, there is no way just to stay here. I'll be doing it from here. I'll be doing everything in my power and will continue speaking up. But I will never abandon Palestine, because it lives in my heart, and my heart is still there. So I'm physically safe here. I'm more emotionally devastated, and I can't really tell you how shattered my emotions are, because I miss home, I miss my homeland, I miss doing everything in my power. However, I will just do everything. I will die. Like, our blood is going to water Palestine, a free Palestine, very soon for the next generations. But hopefully, we will liberate it together.
I want to play some clips of your speech that you gave at the rally over the weekend. Do we have? I think we do have a couple clips. Yeah, there were so many powerful speakers at the rally in Dublin, including Mahmoud Nawaja, the general coordinator of Palestine's Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions National Committee. Iman Al-Hajj Ali is another Palestinian from Gaza who arrived in Ireland at the same time as you, Abubakar. And we're proud to say that just like you, she has been a regular contributor to the Electronic Intifada. Before we go to your clip, let's listen to a brief clip of Iman's speech.
I never thought that this would be my story in my 20s, but here I am, like many other Palestinians, asking questions that have no clear answers. Like, will we live to see the day when Gaza is free? Will we be even more than survivors? We are demanding for our rights. We are not asking for miracles. And despite everything, hope is still there. We are still hopeful. We see hope in our children, in mother. We see hope in our children, in our mothers who tell them stories under the appalling sounds of drones and bombs. We see hope in our doctors who are treating their patients, in our teachers who teach their students, and in our journalists who are covering the truth despite the threats they have been facing on the ground. Hope is what keeps Gaza's people going, and they refuse to be broken. We are scattered, yes, across the world, but one thing connects us. The main thing that connects us to our country is our belonging to this land. We belong to our homeland, to our ancestors, and we carry Gaza wherever we go. I left Gaza, but Gaza will never leave me.
Iman Al-Hajj Ali. And there are so many students from Gaza who are now in Ireland. Ali, did you want to say something about those students and what it's like meeting some of these EI contributors for the first time?
It's been, very emotional. I got to spend time with some of them, and on the one hand, you feel overjoyed at seeing them and seeing them safe. Hearing them in person tell their stories of what they've left behind, and just like Abubakar, the constant, overwhelming concern for their families while also adjusting to a new country. But it also made me feel optimistic in a way, because there is, the word resilience gets overused, but these are very strong, determined, optimistic people despite everything. And I was so proud. It sent chills up my spine to listen to Iman, having read her work at the Electronic Intifada and other publications over the last 2 years, and to see her and hear her was just unbelievable. And we feel so much pride for all these students. I'm certain they'll be successful here, and they couldn't have a better home than Ireland now. I mean, everyone hopes to go home to Palestine. For the time being, they're here. There's so much love around them. And I just want to say thank you to the people of Ireland too, because it's been an extraordinary welcome for them.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, let's take a look at the clip of your speech, Abubakar.
Did I speak in that rally?
Apparently you did, or it was someone who looked exactly like you.
I'm not sure.
Well, let's look and see.
Well, I'm overwhelmed. I never imagined that I would see this in my life. For every child here, for everyone, from the young to the old, for the newborn babies that I've seen, I want to bow for you. As you all know, I've left Gaza recently after spending 560 days, leaving everything behind, including my family, my home, and my memories. When I came here, I came with deep wounds in my heart. I couldn't imagine that I would feel normal. But since I saw you, and you know that I've come here to this protest, to this huge march with no family, and I don't know if my family will be okay. But you have come with your families. I wish I would be in your positions, but I'm so happy for your presence here. You are, for me, after seeing this, after being so speechless, my second family, Ireland, feels like home.
It's beautiful. I think that really was you, Abubakar.
Yeah.
It's real. I keep checking.
John, did you and Asa, did you have any questions you wanted to ask?
Well, I was in attack, John, so to let you know.
Yeah. Come on, John.
Well, I just wanted to say that we've been honored to have you on our show this whole time, and the work that you've done has been so important, and we're so proud of it. And I'm just really glad that you're safe, and I can imagine all of the emotions that you're going through are really conflicted right now. And yeah, you're just you've been in my thoughts consistently.
Well, being here with you, with Dr. Ali, him coming from Chicago, really means the world. Being with you all the time, you really know that without you, it could have been impossible to survive and to have survived. You always hold me in a very, very special place in your hearts, and that really, really means the world to me. I will never forget it at all, every single one of you, and you really know. And I don't think about other media outlets. You already know that Abubakar is EI's, Abubakar is yours, and you really know that. So it's just, I mean, for me, wherever Abubakar is, the shine and the light that you're seeing Abubakar in, it's a reflection of your smiles, of your hope, and of your support over the course of the past 560 days. And already, when I went to the parliament, I talked about you, talked about the work we did, and that's going to be the same experience because I'm your student now and forever.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, it's been such an honor, really, for us for you to, be a kind of accidental correspondent for us. I mean, we wish for another world where you could just go back to being the football journalist that you want to be. Where we wish
He made
for that.
play football.
Yeah.
There's unreleased secret tapes of me.
We'll post that very soon.
Hopefully they don't fall into the wrong hands.
He said I run like a tortoise.
Yeah, I already said that because I couldn't even shoot the ball well.
I admit it. Guilty as charged.
It's incredible.
We need to find a goal for him very soon.
I mean, obviously, Abubakar, your presence in Ireland is already having quite a big impact. You're being recognized in the street. You're being asked to speak at these enormous marches.
Rights for me.
It's perfect. There's a lawmaker from the Social Democratic Party, Rory Hearn, who spoke to the Dáil, calling for the Irish government to do much more than it's doing to try and stop the genocide. Let's play that and then talk about have your reaction right after.
To a journalist at length. Abubakar is his name. He's a young journalist, he's 22. I spoke with him for a podcast and he described to me, and I would really encourage people to listen to it. He described that he sat down with his family about 2 or 3 months ago. They'd no food left and they had to eat pet food. He described that was the moment at which him and his family were completely dehumanized, humiliated. He has come to Ireland and he took part in the Irish-Palestine Solidarity Campaign marches this weekend. And he said there he felt human again. He has been broken like so many people in Gaza. We have a responsibility to act, and I want to commend all the protests been organised by people across this country and indeed across this world. We have to continue. We are not powerless. We have to stop this.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of amazing footage to me,
Yeah.
really. I mean, our guest earlier, Frank McGuinness, was talking about the limitations of the Irish government and all of that. But and I agree with all of that. But nonetheless, like you can't imagine seeing something like that happening in the British Parliament. Like as much as I would like to see you in real life, Abubakar, Ireland is a far better place for you right now. I mean, what is? I mean, what's that like? Seeing a national lawmaker talk about you like that.
Well, it's significant to make a change and to talk to those in power in the country. Those parliamentarians have the ability to talk to their prime minister and to the government itself, and they can really convince them to do something. So for me, it was really important to sit with him and talk about him and tell him that your government must do more, and your government must stop its trades or its relations with Israel, and it must stop, all the fighter jets coming over its airspace to Israel that are used to kill us. And the Occupied Territories Bill must be enacted. It must be passed, and that's something I said in the rally. For me, he's a very humble man. I have to be honest. He's a very, very humble man and a very, very nice guy. He's absolutely terrific. He got me so emotional. He got so emotional because he has a son like me. So I just brought it to him from that aspect and told him that you have a son my age, but what I was going through was just unimaginable. So I tried to explain everything for him. I needed him to feel like a father, not like just a parliamentarian, so he could really face his government and talk about it more. And this is my responsibility here. I have to talk to the governments. I have to reach out to people in power, to let them know and make them know what is happening in Gaza. I've lived it all. I've lived it from day one to day 560. And what is going to happen in the next days is going to be a similar experience to what I have endured. I've seen Gaza, the whole Gaza Strip devastated. I reported from every single area, and you probably remember, like probably a couple of months ago when we were talking about that in January, when I trekked all across Gaza. So these feelings and the images that I held or I carried with me from Gaza are still haunting me. And the way to vent this pain is just to sit with people, with those people in governments and in parliaments, and tell them what it is like to see their homeland bombed. Because I have to be honest, every place that I see here, I have that idea that it's going to be bombed. Every airplane that I see in the sky, I feel it's going to fall or it's going to unleash a missile or a rocket on one of the nearby buildings. I'm simply traumatized that I can't plot this pain out. However, I'll try to do my best. I'm a representative. I have a responsibility to do here and to do everywhere I go, which is to talk about my experience, which is to make sure that the Palestinian cause is being talked about everywhere, and to force governments and all those parliamentarians to do something, because they are humans and they are fellow humans. So the common humanity that they must have is what they need to do, and is what they need to tell their governments. Because if governments listen to their people, this genocide would have been ended a very long time ago. But the dehumanization of Palestinians can stop, and Israel can be stopped once those governments listen to their people. So talking to the parliamentarians is a very important experience and something that I can do to help my people in some way.
And can you talk about the Occupied Territories Bill, the significance of it? Maybe Ali, give us some background on what it is and why it's important for people to support and perhaps replicate in their own countries.
Yeah, the Occupied Territories Bill, and we've reported on this at the Electronic Intifada, passed its first stages with strong majorities in both houses of the Irish Parliament, Oireachtas, in 2018. And what it would do is it would basically outlaw trade in goods and services with Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, which are, of course, illegal under international law. But despite its initial success in passing its first stages, successive Irish governments have stalled it, claiming that enacting the bill would violate European Union law because trade is something that the EU is responsible for regulating. But that has been challenged, and the government here has basically conceded on much of that, and they're saying that they want to pass the bill through its final stages. But what they've been trying to do now is really to exclude trade in services from the bill and make it apply only to tangible goods, which would really gut it of much of its power. It would mean that they would create a very big loophole, which activists here, many of whom I've spoken to, are strongly opposed to. And I met many people at that amazing march on Saturday who are fierce Palestine solidarity campaigners in Ireland, including Catherine Daly and Dee O'Shea. And if they're watching, I send them love and greetings. It was wonderful meeting you on Saturday. Dee actually set up a petition that I think we can show that has received over 50,000 signatures, and anyone is encouraged to sign it. And the petition says, and I quote, "At this stage in the genocide, it is unbelievable that Ireland has a powerful bill that could help the people of Palestine waiting in the wings to be enacted since 2018. It took immense effort from many political, academic, and legal minds to get the bill to its present position in the legislative process. There is no legal excuse for stalling it any longer." And what I can tell you, even just from being in Ireland for a few days, is that the pressure really is working. The popular pressure is working. And there was a very interesting interview this morning on RTE, the national broadcaster, with the Taoiseach, the Irish Deputy Prime Minister Simon Harris, who is also the Foreign Minister. And it was clear to me from listening to him that he is feeling the pressure from the Irish people. And he said, quote, "I have no policy disagreements with those who want services included in the legislation, none whatsoever." And he claimed he, quote, "absolutely wants to see the bill passed as soon as possible." But he still sounded like he was stalling and trying to evade very firm commitments on a timetable. I think the most significant thing, Simon Harris said, is that he described what Israel is doing in Gaza as genocidal actions. This means that the Irish, he used that term genocidal actions. And I think even mentioning genocide or genocidal means that the Irish government recognizes that Israel is perpetrating genocide in Gaza. And what that means is that it is no longer optional for Ireland to act. This invokes Ireland's legal responsibilities under the Genocide Convention to act to prevent and halt the genocide. And it's very clear that Ireland has the power to do so, not by itself. But I think the significance of Ireland is that it is a member of the EU. It is a country that has influence on the international stage, has a good reputation on the international stage. And if Ireland took these actions, I am certain, and this is what many people here are telling me, others would follow, that it would just be the first break in the dam, and many other countries would then follow. And Ireland has that opportunity now for global leadership. And what people are telling us here in Ireland is that they see the pressure working. The government is on the defensive. They are rushing to show that they're trying to do something. And what activists here have told me is that that means this is the time to escalate and add more pressure, not to let up in any way. And I suppose that that's true not just in Ireland, but in all countries that have been in one way or another complicit in this genocide.
Yeah. And also this week, the European Union decided to review an agreement on its political and economic ties with Israel, citing Israel's widening assault on Gaza and now its 2-month total blockade of all food, water, and medicine and fuel. The EU is Israel's biggest trading partner with more than $50 billion in trade each year. What do you make of this decision?
Well, the just for some background, the EU-Israel Association Agreement, this was signed in 2000, and it's basically a major agreement that gives Israel huge benefits and privileges within the EU. In many respects, almost like a member of the EU, particularly trade, that has really helped enrich Israel in many ways, and a lot of European countries who have companies rather that have gotten rich off trade with Israel. And so the association agreement is something that is a great benefit to Israel. But here's the thing, Article 2 of that agreement states that relations between the EU and Israel, as well as all the provisions of the agreement itself, shall be based on respect for human rights and democratic principles, which guides their internal and international policy and constitutes an essential element of this agreement. So that's Article 2, not Article 37, not Article 132. Fundamental to the EU-Israel Association Agreement is respect for human rights. And who can say that Israel respects human rights? And yet the demand from people across the European Union since 2000 to end this agreement, or at least suspend it, has gone unanswered by increasingly undemocratic and repressive EU governments. And so in that sense, the announcement that the EU is going to review the agreement is welcome. But my goodness, how little that is and how late.
Yeah.
But I think here, Ireland deserves some credit for the response that Micheál Martin, the Taoiseach, the Irish Prime Minister, gave in Parliament this week in the Dáil, and we can actually take a look at a little clip of that.
Welcome yesterday's decision to review the European Union-Israel Association Agreement to examine Israel's compliance with its human rights obligations. It's a step that is long overdue. Operation of the agreement should now be suspended immediately, pending the outcome, as a sign that there can be no business as usual.
Well, the fact is, and I think many of our Irish friends have stressed this to me, there has been business as usual, including in Ireland. And Micheál Martin was also the foreign minister for a long time. And I'm not sure if he publicly made such a strong statement before. So the fact that he's calling for it to be immediately suspended is a credit to the people of Ireland who have pushed the government to this point, and I think will keep pushing. And it is long overdue, and it's past time for sanctions. So it's a welcome step, but it should never have taken this long. And that review should take 5 seconds. I mean, it should be like, oh, read Article 2. Are human rights being respected? No. Suspend the agreement. Cancel it. Sanctions on Israel. The EU just proudly announced its 17th package of sanctions on Russia since 2022. And we're in 2025, and there is this horror going on before our eyes, this genocide, and they're still in the stage of reviewing. But let us hope they get there. We will welcome it and praise them if they finally do the right thing. But please, for goodness sake, get on with it.
Abubakar, last week we shared an excerpt of the beautiful piece written by your dear friend from Gaza, Khaled El-Hissi, who you were briefly reunited with when you passed through Amman, Jordan, on your way to Ireland. And I mentioned the piece that you wrote yourself at Dropsite News. And I just wanted to ask you again, you know, how it feels going from the really as the doctor I mentioned in the news report said, the slaughterhouse, the killing fields in Gaza, to being welcome, to being safe, to being able to buy and eat food to get medical treatment, to walk down the street and not hear drones. I mean, to wake up not to the sound of bombings and explosions, but to birds, to kids playing in the park. Like what is this? What kind of just a kind of emotional, where is it? Where is your heart, your emotions these days? And what is that like to be transported to a completely different reality?
It's abhorrent. It's simply, I can't really feel it. My emotions have been frozen since I left, since I first set foot outside Gaza. And I'm trying, Calvin is well aware of that. I'm trying to find joy, but all the joy that I have is very excruciating. So in my terminology, I would say I'm having a sense of painful joy. I feel very, very, very guilty, very contrite. It's the sense of contrition is absolutely unendurable, and I said something, I will keep saying it wherever I go. And I told it to Dr. Ali the first time we met, that for 22 years and 5 months, I was dead. When I first arrived here, I was born. So I would say I'm just a 1 month old. This is the exact definition of what it is. And this is the reality that we have to accept. I'm literally a 1 month old, because what I was living in Palestine, in Gaza, for the past 22 years, particularly since the crippling siege Israel has imposed on the Strip in 2006, was something no one could really imagine. And then a genocide, a Holocaust broke out, where your life was at risk every single moment. I survived many Israeli airstrikes. I survived many times the starvation. I was left with no choice, until just for being a journalist, you're being threatened, just for telling the truth. Already that most of the times when you're alone, you're here without a family, you're here with no one, just a stranger in a homeland, or probably in a land that doesn't, it doesn't suit you. You're not here. I'm not here. Like, I wouldn't go back as fast as possible, because I have a duty to do, have a duty to really fulfill right now. It's just heartbreaking. And when you see the water, the leftovers in the waste baskets that people are throwing here, what are people doing? Those things are truly priceless for every Palestinian right now. I tasted, as Mr. Rory, and we talked about that. One of the situations that I couldn't really help myself stop thinking about it was with me and Dr. Ali just in one of the shopping centers, and we were looking at food, and I told him, Dr. Ali, did you remember in October when I told you that I had only 3 meals over a week, and now we have everything? That's wrong. That's like taking someone from hell, from the lowest degrees of hell, to heaven all of a sudden. You need time to process it. You need time to realize that you're an island. I'm just telling myself all the time, just wake me up. I'm in a dream. So there is an error here in the whole equation. And the error is that people can continue their lives while there's a Holocaust. People can go ahead with their own entertainment in all lives, while the Holocaust, the genocidal Holocaust, has been unleashed and inflicted upon your people. There are some things that are here, some things that are really, really, really like worrying me and irritating me. The boycott products that are everywhere in the markets. People are boycotting, I agree with that, but sometimes you're drinking. When you are drinking a Coca-Cola or a Coke, you're like drinking my blood, my people's blood. I can't really imagine it. It's very disturbing. It's really disturbing. But I don't know what to say. Like, the first time being outside Gaza, the first time being without a family, the first time, like, my parents never imagined that I would leave them at any point in their lives. I have a family. I have many things. All of that was just erased because Israel is unleashing terrorism on people, and they are still, until this moment, they're still annoying me. They're still threatening me. So I'm 22 years old. I never did something wrong in my life. I never. The 22 years old people or young men all around the world have a prosperous, have a great life with their families. They're always with them. My family is not safe. I think about them. I'm thinking about them as I'm talking to you. But you probably see Abubakar very hopeful. I'm very hopeful, and I will continue to be very hopeful. I will continue carrying that hope from Gaza, because I promised myself since day one that I would emerge, as I told you during the live streams in Gaza. And as you can hear me very clearly now, right now, without any cuts, without any break-in, that Abubakar really needs time. He's a human being in that, and I can't stop thinking about my family, about my people. I have to do something. I really have to do something. But my heart is there. My body is here. I'm not safe. I'm safe with my family. I want to keep reiterating this, which is, I want to live in a grave in Gaza, but not to live in a castle elsewhere across the globe. So for me, the soil of Gaza is what has really stayed with me and will really stay with me and will stay with me forever. That's my promise to my homeland and to everyone who's listening to me right now.
I want to say something to you in front of everyone here, which is that we are all so proud of you. We're proud of all the other journalists in Gaza. I told you many times that, every single time you went out to report could have been your last day. Even sleeping in your home could have been your last day. And so we're all so happy that you made it out. Everyone deserves to be safe. You should never feel guilty for surviving. I know your heart is always with your family. All day long when I've been with you, you're communicating with them as often as you can. Your mind is never away from them. I mean, I've seen that with my own eyes. And they find joy, even living in a genocide, they find moments of joy and pride when they see you doing what you do, when they see you just enjoying fresh, clean air and safety and seeing the greenery. That lifts their hearts as it lifts mine, seeing you enjoy it. And I also know, Abubakar, that you feel very driven to continue to speak, and what you've done, even in the short time in Ireland, has been tremendous. You're like a whirlwind going through Ireland, and your message is reaching far beyond. But you have a mission and a role that you'll need to pursue maybe for many years, and therefore I hope you will, and I hope people will give you the time and the space to slow down a little bit, to take it at your pace, and so that you can be that strong voice for a long time. Because I can see anyone, just like anyone who's come out of this situation, who survived this Holocaust, and this is true of all those I've met who have come from Gaza and who are now in Ireland, who I've had the privilege to spend time with. Everyone needs time to at least heal to the point where they can be effective for themselves, be healthy and strong for themselves and for their families back home. So I hope you will give yourself that space, and everyone else will give you that space. And you are going to be, you are doing, and you are going to continue to do amazing things. I have no doubt of that.
Well,
we're proud of you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was my honor and privilege to hear that. But as I'm telling you, I'm in the end a human being, and my only weakness is not to be with my family, my parents. You already know that.
It's a big thing. It's a big thing
for me. Whatever happens, or whatever will happen, as I told you, Palestine cannot be liberated without our blood. We can water it. We talked about the yellow rose many times. The yellow rose will bloom by our blood. The yellow rose will bloom by our sacrifices. That's a promise that I've made for a very long time. That's why I learned English. I was burning my hands by the wax candles, and I was doing everything in my power. I showed you that.
Yeah.
Just to stay for long hours at night because there was no electricity. I made the whole journey, took the risk, and I did everything. And I just left my family, left my heart, just for the case of a country, for the sake of a country that has seen the unbearable. And we are Palestinians together, sitting here, talking to the world. We can't let it go away. We're here for them. We are the fighters. We're the ones who can free it. And whatever it takes, it's going to take our hearts, it's going to take our lives. We're with Palestine all the time.
I want to say one thing, which really, this isn't my first time in Ireland. I've had the chance to spend time here over the years, though it's never enough. And it's been a few years, but I felt so strongly here in Ireland being with you. We've talked so much about the hope that we see in Ireland's present in the activism and the people, in the solidarity from people in this country, which is just really amazing. But I also see a lot of hope in Ireland's history. One of the things that, walking around Dublin, and yesterday we went to outside Dublin a bit, and you see monuments and you see sites that are associated with the 1916 Easter Rising. And of course, that's when the Irish resistance, let's call them the Irish Muqawamah, declared the Irish Republic. But what I was saying to Abubakar is that what we have to recognize about the 1916 Easter Rising is that, strictly speaking, it failed. The British crushed it brutally, and they arrested and executed the leaders of the Easter Rising. James Connolly was executed by the barbaric British in Kilmainham prison in his wheelchair. So strictly speaking, in those terms, it was a failure, but it was the beginning of the end of British rule in Ireland. And within just a few years, within less than a decade, most of Ireland was free of British occupation. So we cannot judge events as we live through them. We can't always see where they're going. And that's one of the things that really came home to me again, being back in Ireland. There's hope in Ireland's history, as well as in the incredible energy of its people today.
It's beautiful. Thank you for that reminder. And yeah, I mean, as you were speaking, Abubakar, people in the comments were saying, please take all the time you need. It's going to be a long journey of emotional and spiritual repair, and we're all here for you. And your family is growing all over the world, and we're all here to support you and care for you in however way we can. So it's so good to see you, and I'm so glad that you and Ali have been hanging out and really supporting each other and taking care of each other in Dublin and meeting all these amazing people. Yes. There's always a surprise.
Right there.
Ah, there we go.
We might go outside while there's still some sunshine.
This is perfect.
See how well the tortoise runs.
I love it.
They're gonna be crowned the champions next Sunday. So it's really kudos to Liverpool fans who have been supporting Palestine over the course of the past 2 years. I'm very happy, and yeah, we're here together. I think it's very emotional, and hopefully with the rest of the team. And
Yeah.
but I'd say, like, you know, as I told you, for me, I'm trying to grow up, and thanks for being here. I'm still learning every single day, and I have to do everything. And with you being around, the hope grows every single day, like a yellow rose, and we keep taking that yellow rose with us until Palestine is free. That's the promise, and that's the pledge of every single one in Gaza, every single me and my family. So yeah, I think until, and we will play football in our hometowns.
Well, go easy on Ali now, because
Yeah, of course.
He's not as young as he used to be.
exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna leak it. We're gonna leak the videos very soon. So stay tuned.
All right. So good to see both of you. We'll be in touch very soon, as we always are.
But you didn't. You forgot to say live from Ireland. You always say live from Gaza.
Well, thank you for
From
being
Dublin.
with us live from Ireland and Dublin, and yeah, and thanks for everything, of course. All right.
Right.
Thank
Take
you.
care, guys. Talk
Bye.
to you soon.